You know, I'm not pissed off about the fact that Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back. I'm not pissed off about the fact that one moment Jacob Blake was just a dad hanging out with his kids, and then another moment he is on the hospital bed paralyzed from the waist down. I'm not even pissed off about the fact that medical experts do not know whether Jacob Blake is ever gonna walk again. I'm not even pissed off about the fact that even as I speak to you now, Jacob Blake is handcuffed to his hospital bed. You know, and I'm not even pissed off about the fact that Officer Shesky, the Kenosha officer that shot Blake 7 times in the back, has not been arrested yet. You know, and I'm not even pissed off about the fact that in America it is almost becoming a thing that the easiest way for a cop to get an administrative leave, aka a vacation, is to just shoot a nigger. You know, after George Floyd was brutally murdered in broad daylight in that manner, and after all the protests that is sparked, not only in the United States but across the whole globe, you would think that there would be some changes in how policing is done in America, especially towards people of color and other minorities. But so many months after Floyd, the narrative has always been the same. And I'm not even pissed off about that. What I'm really pissed off is what they are turning America into. They are turning America into a we against them kind of jungle. You know, so it's always the right against the left, Republicans against Democrats, conservatives against liberals, blacks against whites, black against blue, you know. And that is the main reason why we are not able to get anything done in this country. Because once a person belongs to a particular category, it doesn't matter what he does. Everybody in that category is going to be supportive of him, no matter how bad it is. And vice versa. You know, so the story is about Jacob Blake, an unarmed black man. So according to the story, police were called to attend to a domestic violence incident, and which involved Jacob Blake. And according to the video that we saw, from the video you could see that there was an altercation. It was not really an altercation. The police were talking to Jacob Blake, and then from the video you could see that he was walking away from the cops, and then he was trying to enter his car. As he opened the door to his car and got into the car, they shot 7 times into his back. You know, and the problem is, as I said, because of this we against them bullshit, there's always a group of people who will try to find excuses as to why the cop had the right to shoot 7 times into someone with their backs turned against them. And you would think that the only reason why a cop would shoot or would draw their service weapon is when they feel like their life is in an imminent danger, is when the suspect poses an imminent threat to them. I'm still wondering how a person whose back is turned against 2 officers with their weapons drawn still poses an imminent threat to them. You know? But you will always hear that same stupid narrative. People saying, oh, why didn't he just comply? Oh, why didn't he just stand there? Oh, why was he going towards his car? Oh, why was he reaching from his car? What was he reaching? What was he trying to take from the car? Was he reaching for a weapon? Was he reaching for a knife? Was he reaching for a gun? And why would people even blame an unarmed black man from walking away from the police? After the life was choked out of George Floyd in broad daylight, after Breonna Taylor was shot and killed in his own home, after Philando Castile was shot and killed in his own car, even though he complied to every instruction that the cop gave. You know, the list goes on and on and on. I can mention of Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray, Alton Lloyd, Eric Garner, all these people. So we see all this in the news. So it could be that Jacob Blakes was just scared for his life. That is why he tried to walk away. He didn't want any altercation with the cops. And then he had his kids in the car. What if he was just going to check on his kids? Let's give it to them, assuming without admitting that he was reaching for a weapon. The fact still remains that the cops did not see Jacob Blakes with any weapon. So they had no right, they had no reason to shoot him 7 times. Even if he was reaching for his weapon, isn't one bullet enough? Isn't one bullet enough to stop a person from reaching? What was the essence of 7 bullets into a person with their back turned against you? You know, and it's sad. It's sad because, as usual, the same narrative follows. A black person is shot by the cops, and then what next? The next thing is there will be some riots, there will be some looting, there will be some protest. You know, and then this kid, Kyle Rittenhouse, or whatever he calls himself, and his gang, the Kenosha sheriff is calling them a militia. That is some bullshit. It's not a militia. It's a white gang, a white racist gang. These kids drove all the way from Illinois and they went to Wisconsin with assault rifles. What were they going to do? According to them, they were just going to protect property. Who gave them the right? Who gave them the audacity to drive all the way from Illinois to Wisconsin to protect people? And one of these kids, in the course of protecting property, shot 3 people, 2 in the head who died instantly, and then 1 who is in a very critical condition. And after he shot people, they called the police that there has been some shooting. So the police were driving, the same Kenosha cops that had shot 7 bullets into the back of an unarmed Jacob Blakes. They saw this Kyle, 17-year-old car guy, 17-year-old with an assault rifle, running towards the cops. And they did not stop him. They did not question him. They didn't even look at him. They just drove past him. So Kyle Rittenhouse was able to go to his home, have a good night's sleep, and then he was arrested the following day. Why couldn't they do the same for Richard Brooks? Richard Brooks had not killed anybody. He was just drunk. And then his only fault was that he realized that he was drunk. He didn't want to drive drunk. So he parked by a Wendy's and then fell asleep. These cops wanted to arrest him immediately. And it ended up that Richard Brooks was shot in the back and then he died. But this white 17-year-old kid was able to run with an assault rifle around his neck, and then he was not harassed in any way. You know? And I'm not even pissed about that. The whole problem in America is this we against them thing. And because of that, as I said, we are not getting anything done. Because even today, there are people who are still defending this 17-year-old militia gang member who killed 2 people. And they are giving some bullshit story that he was scared for his life. It was in self-defense. This guy crossed state lines with a gun. And then he was not even questioned by anybody. You know, it's sad. It's sad. And then when black people kneel, people question why they are kneeling. And when they protest, people question why they are protesting. When they are looting and rioting, people are questioning why they are looting and rioting. What else do you want them to do? When you make a group of people feel like you don't give a shit about their life, you have no regard for their life, what would they do? What is left for them to do other than protesting and rioting and looting? And it's sad that instead of facing the problem, the systemic racism in the American government, in the American system, people are talking about buildings that are being burned down. People are focusing on buildings that are being burned down. People are rather focusing on the protesting instead of focusing on the reason for the protest. So yeah, Jacob Blakes, he's in the hospital, handcuffed to his hospital bed, paralyzed from the waist down, and his doctors do not even know if this guy is gonna walk again. And Officer Shesky that shot him, he has an administrative leave. Nothing has been done. So we are gonna follow the story and then we'll see how it goes. But hey, let's just be safe out there. I'm talking to my black people. Just be safe out there. If you meet a police officer, try again to comply with everything that they do. Even when they say lie on the floor in the road, just do it. And please do not reach, because you are not Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof shot and killed 9 innocent black people who had invited him to their church, but he was apprehended without a scratch. James Lom, he went to shoot a movie theater, killing 12 people and injuring 70 people, but he was arrested without a scratch. So it is what it is. Take care of yourself. Let's pray, and that's all we can do. This is your boy ABC Tata Chini. I'm out.